Good morning. Another Saturday morning workshop. My name is Charles Sine, CEO of Anti-Fragility Health. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate the time you take to join us for these workshops that we run. Today's workshop, we are continuing our series of workshops on the journey to longevity. And in that, we have talked about the 7 levers, lifestyle levers that are required to support that journey to longevity. And over the last couple of months, we've talked about nutritional biochemistry, we've talked about exercise physiology, we have discussed the implementation and the roadmap to maturity, and today we want to continue the conversation with the discussion around what we call sleep physiology. There are a couple of other topics outstanding, and we're going to be addressing that over the next several weeks. So today the conversation is a critical issue in the architecture of life, and that is called sleep physiology. Sleep is a critical requirement for being healthy. That's why God made it such that 1/3 of our lives is spent sleeping. You would think, what a waste. If we're going to be here for 100 years, it means that we're sleeping for about 30 years of that 100 years that we're here. So what a waste of time, right? Sleeping. But it's because of its critical impact on overall health that's why sleep is such a necessary thing every 24 hours. So every 24 hours, which we call the overall circadian architecture, for 8 hours within those 24 hours we sleep. And in some ways, that sleep architecture was aligned with the revolution of the sun and the moon. So when the sun goes down and melatonin increases, the body moves into the parasympathetic mode, which is the sleep mode. And then as the sun rises and melatonin drops, the body moves into the sympathetic, what we call the wakeful mode. So that architecture is really like a conductor conducting the music of life over a 24-hour cycle. But within the 8-hour cycle of sleep itself, there are movements across different phases, and we will talk about that. Stephen Walker has written books, and he's like the foremost expert on sleep research, and he has a lot of TED Talks on YouTube that you can go listen to as he takes us deep into the biology and the physiology of sleep. Sleep, when it is present, is amazing. Most people don't think about sleep until they don't have good sleep anymore. And so the real challenge with when you don't have enough sleep, right? Research has been done for people who were not allowed to sleep for 4 days. By the 4th day, most of them were already going crazy. So being deprived of sleep shows us the real impact on our physiology when we don't sleep well. But the real issue of chronic lack of good sleep happens over time when we are not sleeping well over a long period of time. And the impact on chronic illness is really significant. And you can go read all the literature around that. And most people pretend that they sleep well. So today we have some guests and we have some technology. We're going to explore what are the real issues of sleep and why these technologies are necessary. And then we will talk to some of our guests about their experiences, and we're going to conclude by just discussing, in my view, I love sleep. Bedtime for me is almost like a sacred thing. I'm going to be going to sleep, and I really enjoy sleep a lot. I love to stay in bed even if I'm not asleep. It's something I enjoy a lot. So I'm going to call up my Vice President for Technology, Vincent Gwynn, And Vincent and I are going to start looking at this equipment that is a very important equipment now in how we track sleep quality. And at the core of tracking sleep quality, we are actually looking at challenges to sleep. And that real big issue are the different kinds of sleep apnea that really affects people's health in terms of snoring, in terms of the oxygen capacity and availability. And so, Vincent, what is this equipment called?
Yeah, this equipment we just acquired from Itama Medical, and it's called Watt PAT.
Okay. Yeah. And so this instrument is critical because we give it to patients to go home and we'll measure their sleep quality and we'll bring the results, and Dr. Johnson will examine that to determine their sleep quality and whether they have the different kinds of sleep apnea and therefore what the interventions would be, correct?
Right. So yeah, we call this one at-home sleep monitoring equipment.
So you have an example of the equipment here. I know we're going to watch the video, but can you show us the different components of it and how it actually works?
Yeah, so yeah, here's actually the whole set of the equipment, and you can see this is the heart of the equipment.
Which is the one that you wear on your hand.
Yeah, so this one is like small computer. It's help collect the data about your sleep. So the data collect is through they call it PAT prop. So
yes,
you can wear it. You can wear
your finger.
In the finger.
Yes, it measures the oxygen levels.
They call it peripheral arterial monitoring.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and then we have the other one that is measuring the breath, the snoring, and the sleep positions.
Yeah. So
correct.
This is they call it SPE sensor. So snoring and body position sensor.
Yes.
So you can put it here.
Yes.
And while you go to sleep.
And so typically we would give this to our guests or our clients to go and use overnight. How much do we charge them? $1,000, Vincent?
No, it's not that expensive. We should, but
I see some of our clients coming. There's no free, right? This is not. We're not in China. There's no free. So how much do we charge patients, Vincent?
So we normally recommend at least 2 monitoring.
Yeah.
And the first one we charge $195.
Yeah.
And the second one is $100.
All right. So it's always good to have 2 measurements. And as Vincent was explaining, the first measurement is to understand the problem, diagnose the problem. When we treat the problem, then there is a second monitoring to see the improvement on sleep quality. Very, very important, as we are going to talk about. So let's watch the video now and give us some real understanding of what this instrument is about. Go ahead, guys.
This brief video will show you how to correctly put on and use the WatchPat sleep diagnostic device. You should put the WatchPat device on when you are already in your pajamas just before getting into bed. Open the WatchPat case. You will find a helpful illustrated guide in the side pocket. Make sure the fingernails of that hand are trimmed and without polish. Remove all jewelry and avoid hand cream. Optional step: placement of snore and body position sensor. Optional sensor: follow instructions only if you see the sensor attached to the WatchPat. Thread the cable through your pajama sleeve up to the neck opening. Peel the backing from the small round sticker of the sensor. Attach the sensor to the sternum just below the sternal notch. Trim or shave chest hair if needed. Secure the sensor in place with medical tape. You'll be putting the WatchPat on your non-dominant hand. Here you see how a right-handed person puts the device on his left hand. Place the WatchPat on a flat surface. Insert your hand and close the wrist strap, making sure it's snug but not too tight. follow the illustrated instructions to correctly attach the oximeter sensor. First, place the sensor on a firm surface with the side with writing facing down. Next, peel off the protective backing. Now, place the tip of your ring finger just before the midline of the oximeter and fold the side wings. Then, fold the oximeter over the finger, ensuring that the black protrusions are opposite each other. Fold down the side wing and gently wrap the long flap around your finger. Make sure not to wrap the end flap too tightly. Now, place the PAT probe on your index finger. If your index finger is too large for the PAT probe, you can choose another finger that fits better. For example, your pinky. Choose carefully. Once in place, the PAT probe cannot be removed and placed on a different finger. Insert your index finger all the way into the probe. The tab labeled top should be situated on the top side of your finger. While pushing against the surface like a table or your leg, gently and firmly remove the tab. Be careful not to twist the probe. You are now ready to turn the watch pad on. Get into bed and press firmly on the round button for a few seconds. Keep pressing until Itamar Medical is displayed on the LCD screen. After about 30 seconds, a good night in the middle of the screen indicates that the study has started. If there is a problem, you will see Test Aborted. In that case, note the error code and call the help desk. WatchPat is now working properly, and it's time to go to sleep. In the morning, remove the PAT probe from your finger. Remove the oximeter, the SBP sensor if attached, and remove the device from your hand. WatchPat cannot be turned off. A red light on the oximeter will continue to glow. This is normal. Now return the device along with the PAT probe, SBP if attached, and oximeter sensor to the case. Return the illustrated guide to the case. That's all there is to it. If you follow carefully the steps presented here, you should have a successful WatchPat sleep diagnostic test. Thanks for watching.
Well, Vincent, so very interesting, right? So this equipment, they say it's simple, as we saw, it's accurate, and it's reliable.
Right.
So we're trying to watch, we were trying to measure the biggest challenge that most people have, which is sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea, yeah.
Yes.
So, we measure actually two kinds of sleep apnea. One is obstructive
sleep apnea.
And
yes.
the second is central sleep apnea. Yeah.
And both of them have critical impact on overall health.
Right.
So there are some people who don't snore but have sleep apnea.
Right.
And there are some people who snore and have sleep apnea.
Right.
So that's the different real issues around sleep apnea. And what is sleep apnea?
Sleep apnea is when you stop breathing during sleep, totally or partially.
Yes,
Yeah.
partially or totally.
Totally, yeah.
And so that, and why is that a problem?
Because when you stop breathing, the oxygen level in the blood reduce,
Yes.
and it's gonna affect the brain and any cell in the body.
Yes, and so that's why it's one of the biggest risks of sleep apnea is actually starts with the mental issues, dementia,
Right.
And Alzheimer's.
Right.
But then there are secondary issues with regard to memory storage,
Right.
because which is critical during sleep,
Right.
and then overall metabolism itself.
Right. So the sleep apnea can cause you like tired during the day,
Yes.
hypotension,
Yes.
diabetes,
Yes.
and memory loss, or a lot of other
Okay.
critical.
Yeah. So the challenge is that most people who sleep alone don't know they have sleep apnea.
Right.
Or people who sleep together may not even know which partner has sleep apnea because we're asleep.
Right. Right.
And so the real challenge is that you may know people who snore, or you may know people who are not snoring, and people who are not snoring, they think they don't have sleep apnea. So like we said, we're measuring obstructive and central sleep apnea.
Right.
So it's really important that we understand that, and that if we then measure it, then we can build the physiological interventions that's going to support that.
Right.
So Vincent, thank you for that. So
Thank you.
we're going to invite our guests. We have 3 guests here today. Elizabeth Alex Stepper. Elizabeth Alex has been our client for more than 2 years now. No, wear your mask, Elizabeth,
Okay.
until you're going to speak.
Oh.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello. Hello.
Kim Bui has been our client also from the beginning of the clinic. Come up, Kim. Hi, Kim.
Hello.
And Endang has also been our client from the beginning of the clinic. So these are like pioneers of the clinic. Welcome, Endang.
Thank you.
So I'm not just a sexist that I invited only women here to be my guests, but I think that women would give us, and even men my age, a comprehensive conversation around sleep. So I'm going to start by asking each of you to just tell us how well you sleep and what are the things you've been doing around sleep. So I'm going to start with you, Kim. I'm going to start with you, Elizabeth. So you can remove your mask to speak, Elizabeth.
Okay. Well, I take melatonin at night, and that really helps me.
How many milligrams? You
I got
don't
it
remember?
here, so I don't really know.
Okay.
Just one tablet, though.
Yeah. So it's either a 3 milligram or a 6 milligram.
I'm really not sure.
Yes. And when do you normally take it?
Right before I go to bed.
And how long have you been taking it?
6 months.
All right. Why did you start taking melatonin?
Because I had a problem sleeping.
And what was the problem?
I would wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to get back to bed. Not
And
to sleep.
what would you be doing? Designing the world?
No, I would turn on my iPad and listen to music or a very interesting topic and try to get back to sleep.
And then, but so what were you missing? When you woke up in the morning, how did you feel?
Groggy, tired. Like it was a struggle to start the day.
All right. So melatonin is not the only sleep hygiene thing that you have introduced, right?
You want to hear the rest?
Yes, please.
I take 2 gummy bears.
What is gummy bears?
But it has the CBD.
CBD.
Oh, okay, the CBD.
Yes.
Also, you take CBD also?
I do.
Before you sleep. What
I
else?
do.
What
That's
else
it.
have you added? Do you sleep with lights on?
No,
You sleep in darkness?
in darkness.
All right. You sleep with pajamas?
Yes.
All right. Do you shower before you go to bed at night?
No.
All right. And what else do you, when is the last eating time
Oh,
before
I take a bath.
Yeah,
not a
you, oh,
shower.
sorry. You take, I
Yeah.
apologize. You take
I don't
a
know if
bath.
there's a distinction.
And taking the bath is specific because you want to be relaxed.
That's right.
As you go to bed. And so when do you normally go to bed?
9:30,
All right. And when do you normally wake up?
6.
Okay. And are
6:30.
you feeling good? Do you
I do.
exercise before you go to bed?
I do not.
You don't exercise in the evening?
No.
Okay. So you exercise only in the morning?
Yes.
All right. Interesting. Anything else about your sleep you want to tell us?
I can just tell you, implementing what I did from 6 months ago, I sleep well. I sleep excellent.
Okay.
And,
Thank you, Elizabeth.
and wake refreshed.
Thank you. No, you don't have to step away.
Okay.
Just wear your mask and we'll ask Kim to step up. Kim is thinking, shit, am I going to talk about my sleep in that detail? So, Kim, what have you done about sleep? How's your sleep quality?
Not as good as I want to.
Okay.
It's been a challenging process that I've been trying to get sleep.
Yes. So when you say it's challenging, you think you have a sleep problem?
I definitely have a sleep problem.
Okay,
yes.
what does that mean? How do you define the fact that you have a sleep
I have
problem?
a hard time falling asleep.
Yes.
And the time that I sleep is not long enough.
Okay. And how did you know that? Did you just know by waking up every day and saying I didn't sleep well? Did you do some tracking?
Well, I have tracking because I used to wear the Fitbit. It's
Yes.
broken, so I haven't been wearing them.
Yes.
So when I wear the Fitbit and I track them, it gives me the length I sleep.
Yes.
And also the quality that I sleep.
Yes.
How many hours awake?
Yes.
How many hours is deep sleep?
Yes.
And how many is REM?
And REM. Yes.
The REM, yes.
But before you started using the Fitbit, how was your sleep? Or you didn't think it was important?
It wasn't. Yeah, no, I didn't think. I know that I couldn't sleep a lot, but
Yeah.
it was not something that I was worried about. I guess. Yes.
So when
no.
did you start worrying about your quality of sleep?
Listen to a lot of your workshop, I guess.
And you started realizing that you need to get your sleep sorted.
Absolutely, yes,
All right.
and also driving home in the evening from work, I do fall asleep sometime. It is try to be awake driving sometimes can be dangerous also as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes it used to happen to me too.
I have to slap myself a couple times.
I do
Just
that.
to be
I
awake.
actually
I have to
open the
slap myself
window.
and have to scream to be awake because especially in traffic also that
Yes,
is just
when it's
it is
slow.
dangerous,
Yes.
So that's part of it. Yes.
So you say you are still working on it. What improvements have you made so far?
Well, I follow a lot of those protocol. I take magnesium.
Yes.
I take melatonin. I
Yes.
take both the
Yes.
SRT, the slow release, and
Yes.
also the
fast release.
the fast release.
Yes.
It helped to fall asleep, but then I still wake up earlier than I wanted to wake up. I
Okay.
guess. Yeah.
Have you tracked it when you've been taking magnesium and melatonin with the Fitbit? Did you see improved
I
sleep
definitely.
quality?
I mean, without the magnesium and the melatonin, then I
Yes.
wouldn't have a harder time falling asleep
Yeah.
for sure.
So how do you feel in the mornings these days when you wake up? Do you feel refreshed, rested? Or sometimes not?
It's my personally when I wake up. It doesn't matter. I have 2 hours sleep or 3 hours sleep, but it's affecting me later on during the day. When I wake up in the morning, it's fine.
Okay, it is later.
It is the later on, the
Yeah.
latency of it.
But you also drink coffee when you wake up, right?
I do drink coffee.
Yeah,
when
is
I
the
wake up.
coffee to wake you up or you just like to drink coffee?
It's a habit as well.
Okay, it's a habit.
It's a habit of
Yes.
tasting the coffee early in the morning.
All right.
It's a habit. But it do also because of the caffeine. Also, if I don't drink coffee, then I yawn the entire day.
All right. Okay, interesting.
So, yes.
Okay. Anything else you want to add about sleep? So we are continuing to work with you with regard to sleep, and I know you're going to be the first person to take this home to test.
Yes.
The sleep apnea thing.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. Endang. Hello, Endang.
Hello.
So, Endang, do you sleep well? Tell us about your sleep quality and how sleep affects how you're managing sleep.
Okay, I sleep well, especially after since this clinic's open, and then you recommend to take a melatonin.
Yes.
My quality of sleep is very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but before that, how was your sleep quality?
It's not as good as.
So when you say not as good, because when we look at sleep, we look at three things. One, because it's insomnia, we look at difficulty falling asleep, difficulty staying asleep, and difficulty going back to sleep if you wake up to pee or something. So when you look at sleep quality, those are the three things we're measuring. So before melatonin, how were those three things?
I have all of them. I mean.
You had problems with
Yeah,
falling, staying, and going back to sleep.
Correct.
All right, so what has improved? All three have improved with melatonin and magnesium?
Yes, it is very significant improving.
Okay.
For the better, I sleep well all the way through the morning.
Yes.
And also the habit, like ritual that I go to sleep
Yes.
easily. I put the light off. When I lie down, I do kind of meditation, but also I put the soft piano music, kind of,
Low volume.
low volume, so I'm more relaxed.
Oh,
That's how I
okay.
like.
And when do you go to sleep? When do you go to bed? Sorry.
It depends. Usually 9 o'clock I go to bed,
Yes.
but go to bed just lying down,
Yes.
relaxing.
And when do you normally get up?
when my daughter go to work, I
You
have
can-
to get up early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You
but
can
6
hear her
o'clock,
waking up,
yeah,
or you have to
yeah.
make pack a lunch for her.
Yes, and do.
I thought that she's old enough to pack her own lunch. Sorry, that was a joke. Yes.
you
All
know.
right.
So, at 6 o'clock. But in the
Okay.
weekend, usually I in the bed until 10 or 11.
Oh, really? But are you sleeping, or you're just in
No,
bed,
just
relaxing?
relaxing. But
Okay.
wake up usually I'm awake about 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So I
thank
sleep
you, all of you, Elizabeth, Kim, and Endang. Thank you for
you.
that.
Thank you.
So we're going to just conclude. Next week, we're going to continue with sleep physiology. We're going to go deep into some of the implications of lack of sleep and some of the reporting that comes out of sleep tracking. And so we can do some analysis and conversations around that. So if you have problems with sleep, or if you want to make some comments about this workshop today, love us, like us, send comments, send your questions, and we're going to answer that in our next workshop on sleep physiology. Thank you. That will be next Saturday at 10:30. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining.